Today on the WTF-is-crypto-space podcast, we reacquaint ourselves with the frequently asked questions section. We find out where Venezuela is and what's going on there, and Chad finds out that one Chinese yuan could buy you petrol. All this and more on the WTF-is-crypto-space podcast. Stay tuned. You're smart. You know how to listen to suggestion and make your own decisions, right? We're just two Aussie brothers talking shit about cryptocurrency, so do yourself a favour, research the topic before doing anything financially. Now for that banging intro music.
Welcome to WTF-is-crypto-space. I'm Brett.
And I'm Chad.
This podcast is all about the crypto space.
Shout out!
Chad.
Yes.
We did a geographic little bit of a test before, so we were talking about geolocations. Where is Venezuela?
Venezuela is in South America. It's actually at the top of South America. It's next to Colombia and Guyana.
Good.
It's across the Caribbean Sea from Puerto Rico.
So we've got a few people that joined us in a couple of different locations, actually, that topped the list this week. Thank you for Western Supermare in UK.
Hey.
New York in the US. Singapore's hitting third. Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got Moose Jaw in Canada, which is just brilliant. I'm looking forward to when Lake Wanker really does hit the charts here. That will be
I'm also
brilliant.
looking for Dildo in, where is it? It's Newfoundland.
And then we've got Santa Costa Rica taking out the end of the list. Now,
Beautiful.
I also wanted to do a shout out to End the Resistance. He said this
It's
week
on YouTube. These guys are on YouTube.
Oh, these guys are on YouTube. Yeah, you guys are right on the money. He said I've almost all the tokens you mentioned, and I'm dropping 1K on Salt very soon. Good luck, mate. And
Good
then
luck.
also Ayers Rock said Pillar for Life.
True statement. Statement true. That's good.
Absolutely.
I like
To
that.
which I say, Pillar rules.
Before we start the rest of the podcast, I want to bring back a segment that we managed to get through the censorship without the explicit tag back in the old days. And that segment is FAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAA going to just throw one at you because you're not prepared for this one yet. I want to ask you this question. What is a great way to move my money from wallet to wallet now that Bitcoin costs are going up when I transfer?
Okay, great question. So a couple I'd say, jaxx-wallet and Exodus wallet. So if you're on a computer, then Exodus is quite a good, stable platform, and it uses Shapeshift as the tool between it. And then another would be Shapeshift itself is quite a good product. And also jaxx-wallet, which has a similar thing there for Shapeshift as well. Not advertising Shapeshift here at all or endorsing their products, but we're just saying that there is some fluidity in that, fluidness in what it does.
We will accept sponsorship.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so Brett, tell me a little bit about Venezuela and their money issues.
Well, look, we've got a couple of articles today on Venezuela, and stick with us, guys. We'll get down to a few different things a little bit later, but the Venezuela government, there was a recent article that said, in Venezuela, money has stopped working.
Now, why has that got anything to do with cryptocurrency?
Well, as we go through with crypto, what we're looking at is that we're looking at ways in which we can circumvent the US dollar. Okay, not us, you and I, Chad. I'm saying about the fact that the rest of the world are moving to sort of they're taking a giant step towards hard assets such as oil, silver, gold, cryptos, right?
Yeah, giant step, small leap.
Oh, absolutely. But they've been small leaping since 2010. So they've got the last few nails in the coffin now, and the next 3 or 4 articles that we'll go through will sort of lead us there. So in Venezuela, money stopped working. Now, the thing is, and you'll see in the article, we'll put it in the link below, there's empty meat counters in a supermarket in Caracas, right?
Yes.
And so what happens was there's 2 ways that hyperinflation that your money will become devalued in these sort of situations. So one is that the goods or the speed at which the money is increasing means that what is happening is the people can't get their food to the shelves fast enough and sell it, or they're trying to sell it because they don't want to transact in their local currency.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So over the last 3 or 4 years, they've experienced massively high inflation, right?
Yes. Yep. And
Now,
we saw this in Chad, right? We saw this in Chad and
a few
other
different
countries.
regions, and in fact, every single currency in the world at some point has experienced some sort of devaluing event, whether that be, that's for another day, but
because it is really more of a not devaluing. It's reevaluating the cost of goods and how scarcity and that sort of stuff, but it's also bringing your currency into alignment. But this doesn't seem like it's being aligned. It seems like it's just like not working at all now.
Well, look, you think about this, right? If you drop 10 cents or 20 cents here in Australia, would you pick it up, right? Most people go, that's shit, and that'll be it. They wouldn't pick it up, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. It has to be at least a $5 note, or I give it to the wife because she needs to store it in a purse because she has a purse.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want the shrapnel, and it's. Like,
I don't want to. I play music as a frigging career. I don't want to be walking around making noise.
You're like, where's someone who's busking? I'm like, seriously, here you go. Here's my change.
I'm currently wearing my Japanese t-shirt. I'm inspired by ninjas. I don't want anyone to know I'm coming. So, like. There's a reason why we don't have choice, but you're saying like a 10-cent piece because it's worth 10 cents, or it's worth like not even a lolly these days. And you hear mum and dad talk about, back in the old days, I used to, have 5 cents and I could buy an entire store. But now they talk about 10 cents is not even worth a 50 cent. 10 cents is worth, a fraction of a 50-cent cone.
Well, look, the good thing about cryptos is because cryptos is okay. So because cryptocurrencies is coming along beside the current fiat money system, what it means is there's two things. In the future, you'll pay $20 for a price for a loaf of bread in Australia.
Absolutely.
Okay, or you might just pay with one Satoshi.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
So you might decide, hey, look, that's the price of Satoshi. So what we do is, and this is why I was saying to you, the price of Bitcoin is not high. It's far, far too low that we're not using the smaller denominations of Bitcoin to their full advantage yet. And that takes time for others to sort of find their way into the crypto space. But the idea is that people are looking to transact. So what was happening over this last 3 years is people were going to the border and transacting with their neighbors in neighboring countries using crypto and using other currencies because people can't afford to do things. Or, there's a picture here of a family who basically have cancelled Christmas because they can't afford Christmas.
And that's the thing. The other part of this article does talk about the fact that society, when things like your money breaks down, then it becomes goods because money means nothing. Therefore, money means nothing because money is essentially was started on the ability to trade between things, and then was borrowed, then it was made into nothing.
Barter. Yeah.
But now, because you just need the things, not the money, there's been looting as per usual when something like this happens.
Well, look, rule number 1 for surviving hyperinflation, it sounds like zombie apocalypse, right?
It does, and I'm all ears.
Is simply get rid of your money. That's it. Because what's happening is that the velocity of money is speeding up such that your money is becoming less and less worthy as time goes on at a extremely quick speed. And unless you've lived through a hyperinflation, it's truly hard to understand it, how they understand it firsthand. So given the speed of that money, that it's shedding value, it means that you need to, so the second part of that is that if you're paid, right?
Yep.
Then you actually want to get rid of that while you can still afford to buy something with today's money, right? And this happened in Weimar Republic in Germany and I've gone blank in 2003.
There was a country. Greece?
Zimbabwe.
Greece?
No, Zimbabwe.
What happened in Greece? We'll talk about that another time, but something happened in Greece, I remember. Someone
Absolutely.
propped someone else up.
But look, the thing about hyperinflation is that money isn't working, okay? What I love, and this is my last point about this, is that the Washington Post was the people that put this out. They're 3 years too late. This started 3 years ago. So let's move to someone who's got a little bit more of an awareness about what's happening. Okay, so this is an article to do with Venezuela is to bring a 100 million cryptocurrency units, so again, essentially a tokenized product, to the market.
Now, what does it do?
Good question. So what they're actually going to do is back their oil supply. So they're a very rich country when it comes to oil.
Yes.
Okay, so what they've said is the president has said that each value of, the value of each petro, okay, which is the token that they're going to be using, so the incorporated
Petro coin, yep,
the petro coin.
Yep.
So they'll have 100 million petros, okay,
right,
which is a legal issuance or from Venezuela, certified and legalized oil wealth, okay,
right.
Now this is exciting, okay?
That is exciting. I heard words and I'm very excited because that means that that this is, again, I'm the guy who gets terms wrong, but is this the idea that there's something behind the crypto coin? It's not just like the hash power that you use to trade or do a thing or do an app. This is actually going to have some shit behind it.
Yeah, look, definitely. But can I ask you a question? Okay.
You can ask me many questions. If I have the answer, it's a different story.
All right. So the question then is, can you think about what cryptocurrency is about? Why do we have Bitcoin?
We have Bitcoin. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Philosophically, I understand that it's there to. I bet you it was made to start off with as a demonstration of something that could happen, and now it's built into something that is like a holder of wealth.
Right. And so when we have that transaction, the reason we feel that it has wealth, okay, because remember, it's only a social construct.
Yes, it is.
That means that people will look at that situation and decide that, do I trust that currency? Okay?
Yep.
So my question then becomes, given the gentleman who's the president currently of Venezuela, and he's done a lot of very untrustworthy things in the last 3 or 4 years, Maduro, okay, the question then becomes is, even though he's issuing this cryptocurrency, do we trust that there are in fact 100 million units of this and there isn't a corruption, etc., that's there? Okay.
It depends on, again, who's funding it. It's supposed to be decentralized, right? So
true.
It's going to be a bunch of people. It's already
a centralized currency as well. This is going to be a centralized currency.
Well, then that's not really where we want. But the other thing is, would you buy into a drug business if it wasn't legal?
No.
The answer to that question is no, Brett. We're being recorded. The second thing is would you buy into an illegal casino holding underneath if you knew that at some point you were going to be caught out?
No.
Then we need to really seriously look at this guy. Not even look at the guy, because the guy doesn't matter. He will be gone at some point out of the presidency, right?
Yeah, but he might keep 5 million petros to himself.
That's the thing. Untrustworthy. The point of cryptocurrency is to have electronic trust, to not have to worry about someone trusting someone. If this is going to be centralized, then it's not really something I want to be involved in. It might go crazy and skyrocket, but so will all the other ones. So
look, they are trying to give it some sort of legitimacy. They're saying that they already have 860. Well,
who is?
Yeah, that's true. The government, and so therefore they're saying that already 860,000 Venezuelans have signed up to be part of the South American nation's mining team. To me, this is just a roundup for people who might be interested in cryptocurrency so they can do something with them at some other later stage, right?
I go back to gold buyers. I always go back to gold buyers. Do you remember when back in the early 2000s where they were buying gold?
Yes.
All they wanted to do was grab your gold.
Yes.
And they were going to give you
patents
for it.
Right.
Patents for it, right? All they're doing is grabbing people's wealth.
Yes.
That's all they're doing. They're grabbing people's wealth, giving them crap for it, and then they'll devalue it. Then they are back to being it could potentially, this could be our first sign or first example of a cryptocurrency turning into a dictatorship, and that's not something I want to be involved in myself personally.
No,
Morally,
but with the
ethically,
Venezuelans,
and financially.
But however, with the Venezuelan, look, I do really feel for the people of Venezuela.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that if they're able to use this for a brief period of time, thinking about hyperinflation and the behavior that they've just had to endure for the last 3 years, what I would say is then turn around and say, okay, earn and acquire as much of that so-called crypto petros that they have that you can possibly get your hands on as Venezuelans, and then trade it over for BTC or Litecoin or some other crypto.
Yes.
So they're giving you a gateway drug into getting into cryptos. Now, take it and turn it into it, but don't
This
keep
is the key
your,
card into a room that has the opportunity to get more things. But my point is, we might have Venezuelan listeners, and if we do, hi guys.
Hi guys, welcome.
The thing is about us being in Australia, and you have travelled, I've travelled. People they were scared about us going to Europe when we went to Europe ages ago, and we went there and we got on the ground, and it was like there was nice people, there was good food, and there was shit all happening.
I'm thinking of a comedian here, Jen.
Yeah, but let's leave that because it's copyrighted. Okay. But in Venezuela, if you're from Venezuela or you're somewhere that's been there or whatever, please write in, tell us. We've got an you can write it in at, what's the email address, Brett?
Yeah. So it'll be Brett or Chad at wtf-crypto-space.com.
Yep. Or you can text us. Text this number. You can tweet us at Chad Shuttle Muso or WTF Crypto Space, or find us on Facebook, because we want to know. The thing is, we don't only want to say something and then leave it. If it's an ongoing thing like this will be over the next coming months or years,
yeah, we'd love to hear from people on the ground.
Please. Now, Brett, you also this is not just the idea of a petrodollar is that they have lots of petrol and lots of fuel and lots of carbon.
Yeah. So look, one of the things that you got to think about there's an explanation as to why they're going down this, because then I've got another article here. It was from late last year, but it's definitely tied into what we're looking at here. This was the prelude to the Venezuelan petros. Yep. So Venezuela ditches the dollar for oil payments to dodge US penalties.
Now, what sort of penalties would they be looking at if they were trying to dodge them? Like, are we talking billions?
Yeah, okay. Billions, yeah. So there's lots of measures, which is a horrible word, but is aimed at being passed by the US as sanctions on Venezuela.
Okay.
Right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to say, well, these people have resources. Not to mention, there's people living there. We should think about that.
That's true.
And then, so what the key is here is that countries like Russia and China are looking to interact with this huge producer of oil so that they can get their hands on oil. And in exchange, they will give that country back something else of value that meets or exceeds that which they've given over, which is the oil.
Essentially the free market.
Well, theoretically, yeah.
Yeah. It's just the essence of trade.
I mean, the thing is that they want to fight against an economic blockade, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so the idea is that there would be a basket of currencies which would help them liberate themselves from the US dollar, and they would focus their energies around that basket of currencies. And that might include, like we said, cryptos, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So the next then, it brings us
I was going to say, it's interesting you talk about China, because China is something that they've wanted to do, and we've talked about, I think, once really quickly, but they really want to change from using the US dollar to the
Look,
yuan.
they've been dumping dollars for years, okay? But just quietly, they were buying the dollars for years, and then they started dumping it, right?
Yeah, yep.
So the thing is, I mean, they're a top energy importer. China, they have 1 billion plus people, and they have to look after those people. They have to keep them warm. They have to, work with that. Now, the thing is that they are looking at a yuan-backed oil futures contract.
Yep.
Okay? And so the idea is that their challenge here is to try and ditch the dollar, okay? And to try and work with Russia, because now we really are seeing the official movement towards the east. Now, you got to understand that for our lifetime, Chad, and for most people listening, everybody goes, oh, well, the US is being king, right? just wind the clock. You know, it's like when you do Google Maps and you zoom out a little bit further. If you zoom out a little bit further in history, for the last 5,000 years, China has dominated almost all the time. Except for this one small period where they got a little bit verschnickered on opium. So, you know, unfortunately, their hands were tied and they missed out on 100 years. But in the whole scheme of things in history, yeah, they've been their long-term thinkers, long-term players.
Absolutely. Look at their empires. Their empire's still around.
That's exactly
They've been there
right.
for like 4,000, 5,000 years.
Chad, they
or something.
wrote Sun Tzu's The Art of War. So
that's true.
This contract has potentially, so the contract that we're talking about here is potentially helps China push the yuan into an damn, Chad,
Yes.
rented lips. Internationalization. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the idea is that it would give a degree of freedom to allow cash flow or capital flows in and out of the country. Now, it is a bit of a balance because naturally they want to keep what they can in the country so there isn't a flight. So they have a huge problem at the moment. They need to decide whether they want to slosh all of their yuan all over the world, or do they want to keep it for a little bit longer in Australia. Now, think about it. Like, if they have Chinese people spread all over the world, and those people are in various countries, they might transact those Chinese dollars in, and not the yuan, but they might transact that currency in each of those respective countries that those Chinese people live in. Sorry, you're scratching your head. Did I lose you there?
No. I'm scratching the back of my neck because it was itchy. But I'm also looking at like the debt in America, and they seem to have racked up. You know, when you look at a number and it seems just like even the smartest person in the world can't literally conceive the idea of a trillion. $14 trillion is the debt that America currently has. 1.24 trillion, the largest of a single place, is held by China. And then
Chad, China own California. It's like
they own a lot of stuff. And not to mention Australia, we have sort of debates on
you
how
can
much
see
they own and
you
stuff
can
like
see
that,
the
but-
United States actually changing its borders due to this political arrangement.
I remember Fahrenheit 9/11 by Michael Moore, and the only thing I remember specifically from that movie is that he said that at the time, which was in the early 2000s, that there was only $3 trillion worth of debt at that time. So China owned 1/3 of that debt. Now they have that means that they have gained. Basically, I see, and you've been predicting for a long, long time. There's only so many trillions you can have owed before things start being. Because how many times have you gone and said, "Hey, mate, you know that $20 you owe me? Are you able to send that $20 back to me?" Oh, he goes, "Yeah, no problem."
Look, one of the
No
things
problem.
that's really difficult, Chad, is that when you're spending money on debt, and this comes from suppliers, that goes with people that you work with, you know, as businesses interact, if they don't pay their bills on time, then
they become the president of the United States.
Well, that's how people get promoted, but
That's how they get promoted, and that's how they become president of the United States and say how
Chad,
much
they could be the
money they
president
have.
or prime minister of any country, and they would
Absolutely.
be in that
If they
sort of
rack up enough
situation.
debts and don't pay people, absolutely.
Absolutely. So the Chinese government, the whole idea with this is that this would expand out to people like Russia, Iran, Venezuela, and all of these people would avoid US sanctions by trading oil in yuan. So therefore, technically, contractually, they can't trade with Venezuela in US dollars, right? So they said, piss off then. What we'll do is we'll do it our own way. We're just going to circumvent. And this brings back to the original point. The idea is that more and more people are looking to circumvent the US dollar, okay, with hard assets. People want to trade, and one of the other options here is that they can actually convert the yuan into gold.
Right.
So
That's awesome. That means that they're going to have something that's backed. It's not awesome for everyone else, but it's going to be great that for China. So congratulations, China. You've played
so before we
long
hit the
game.
next part, Chad, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, subscribe,
Smack
share
it.
this with a mate or friend.
Smack it.
Now, Chad,
Yes.
what have you got for us?
Today we're going to talk about the HODL gang. The HODL gang. These guys, they have recorded this song that you can go on YouTube and check out yourself. It's pretty good. I like it. It's if you've got three minutes of your day and you're doing the dishes, have a listen. It's quite good. Brett, what do you think about this song?
Well, look, I like HODLGANG. I think they're good. We put the links down below. You've got I want you guys to evaluate. We put 3 videos up. As a listener, let us know which one you prefer. Even just in the description below, just put hash or the comments. Put hashtag HODLGANG, hashtag Team HODL, or at Dollar Vigilante, which is the Dollar Vigilante's Twitter. Now, the thing is, each of these 3 have put out a rap video on crypto.
Yep.
Loving the language in the background, but definitely something to check out because we are starting to transition. You'll know Chad, no offense, but you'll know when we've made it when the country music singers start singing about crypto.
Yeah, can I get my dog in the crypto? I tripped over some crypto in the field. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to us. Don't forget to like us, hit that like button, subscribe, and chat and comment. Thank you for all your comments on YouTube. Brett, we have a Twitter.
Yes, wtf-crypto-space.
Brett, we have a Facebook group.
Crypto-space.
Now, guys, thank you so much for adding on us on Twitter, liking us and subscribing to us on YouTube. Hey, to all our new subscribers, fantastic, good work.
Chad, are we still running that competition?
We are running a competition, guys. If you haven't got yourself into the draw to win an hour with us buggerlugs to talk about cryptocurrency, your profile, your portfolio, and your life in the crypto space, here's how you're going to win it. You're going to win it by going to iTunes and clicking 5 stars and then reviewing us. Even if you're using Stitcher or something, all that does is just help us get a little bit more traction, so we can get a little bit more people and maybe get some sponsors on the show.
Share the love.
Share that love. If you do want to sponsor the show, hey, hit us up on Twitter. Brett, it's wtf-crypto-space.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm Chad Shalamuso. But how are you going to win in this draw? All you got to do is rate, review, send it up there. Say, even if you give us a 1, give us a 5, give me a H, give me an E, give me an L, give me a P. So you can win, and we're going to draw that on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February. If you rate us and review us, that is an entry into the draw to win an hour with us buggerlugs to talk about your portfolio and how we can help you in the crypto space, which I think is a pretty good prize. Brett, do you think it's a pretty good prize?
Absolutely. I am a little biased, though.
I am also biased. I enjoy my time also.
I love hanging out with you, Chad.
It's good, but it's good that I can make my own coffee here. It's great. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to get your weekly updates. And they come out every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But until next time, I'm Chad.
And I'm Brett.
Let's get excited about the crypto space.
The transition has begun.
Now, if I have a trillion ones, does that mean...
If you had a trillion ones, I think you could almost reach to the moon. That's what I've heard. We should Google that.
We should, and also, I'm glad they're not 2s, because then that would be 2 trillion, 2 trillion, what? Hang on. 1 trillion, wait.